Welcome to this week's episode of Africa. As always, I bring for you three phenomenal guests who are going to open your mind. First of all, I'm going to have a designer who goes by the name of Georgia. In the very second segment, I have a man who's actually come up with his own genre of music. Yes, that is what artistry is in Zimbabwe. You can actually go and create your own path. That's a segum. And in the third and final segment, I have Mwanawevu, who is an illustrator doing amazing things. I mean, he's even done a show for the History Channel, and that is Bill Masuku. Stay tuned. This is Africa.
Africa searches for inspiration and innovation in all areas of popular culture, from fashion and design through to architecture, art, food, and travel. The focus is on outstanding individuals doing extraordinary things on the African continent. The show presents creatives in their home nations, visiting renowned designers, musicians, architects who are leaving their mark on the young continent. Join me, your host, Rugarem Duhani, as we take a round trip across Africa and get to be inspired, motivated, and future-oriented. Africa, celebrating the African story.
Welcome to the very first segment of Africa. I know most of you are the type that will go and they'll buy those knockoff designers because you're inspired by those international designers. Well, today I have with you a homegrown designer. Yes, we have amazing designers right here in Zimbabwe. And in the heart of Harare, I am at Monkey Rain Atelier. Oof! Sounds fancy. And I'm joined by the designer and creative director, Georgia. Hey, Georgia.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm amazing, and it's lovely to finally have you on the show.
Great to meet you guys.
So what does the word atelier actually mean? Because I know like a lot of people hear that in the fashion scene. What does that mean?
Atelier is just a French word. The most basic meaning is studio or workshop. So when we say atelier, it just means the place where we work from, where people can come and see us and visit, but it's primarily like the work space.
And when we're looking at your workspace, there's this beautiful design that's right behind you. Oh my days, it's gorgeous. We'll get into that. But first of all, I just want to know what led you into being a designer?
Well, I've always been an artist from a very, very young age. Grew up always drawing, making art. That's where I started actually in the fine arts and painting. And then I just moved on to designing for my friends in high school. I went to high school for my O-levels, go Bulawayo. So for leavers, dancers and stuff, my friends would be like, oh, we need a design. But to explain to the tailor, they needed a visual representation. So I would just draw for them what they wanted, and they take it to their tailor. So that's the earliest I can remember actually designing for people. So that's where it started.
Wow, that is phenomenal. I'm trying to think in high school, who was I inspiring like that? You went to school. Please take us on the journey of you actually going and studying to be a designer.
So my journey definitely started from primary school. I had a specific art teacher who inspired me and told me, you know what, you really need to pursue this at an O-level stage. So when I was at my O-levels, by hook, line, or sinker, I decided I'm going to do art and design. So I did the observation drawing component and the fashion design component. And by the grace of God, I got a distinction. From there, I went to African Leadership Academy in South Africa, Joburg. And I got a scholarship to do my A-levels there. And then from there, it was kind of like a really close, guided experience of like, what do you really want to do? So they knew me as an artist, they knew me as a designer, and they helped me to apply to the States. So I went to Savannah College of Art and Design in America, and that's where I did my fashion degree.
That definitely speaks to the power of actually getting an education underneath your belt, because we know in this digital age, a lot of youths are like, no, but I've got natural raw talent. You still need to get that degree with you. But why did you come back home? Because you could have chosen to stay and work under another house, but you came back home and you established your own atelier.
Well, I'm very much a Pan-Africanist at heart. I love my continent. I love my country. And to be honest, I couldn't see myself settling down in a place that wasn't within Africa. It didn't matter where I was, but obviously home was the first port of call. But I didn't feel the passion, and the level of growth would have been much slower. I actually graduated in 2017 and came back at that time. And to be honest, if I was still in America, I honestly don't think I would have my own studio space, working with my own people, doing what I want. I don't think I would have been at the trajectory was just really different. So just besides being passionate about Africa, besides being passionate about my country, I just wanted to be home and work with African creatives. You know, the saying is Africa to the world, Zimbabwe to the world, and what better way to do that from the source? Yeah.
Wanawevu has spoken. What story do your designs tell? Because I'm looking at this one. You used Ziplocs there, and you spray painted them. That's creative. What story do your designs tell?
My designs tell a lot of different stories, but I personally, as an artist, mainly focus on identity, gender, mental health. Those are the common themes that I explore in my work. So Mind Curated Atelier is also a bridal brand, primarily. That's how we market ourselves. And so with this project, we did it in collaboration with the German embassy, the Matobo project. And so now we had to do something for the high fashion collection for the final show. And we said, well, as people who market yourselves as a bridal brand, why not create a Ndebele bride? Because the textiles, these were from Matobo, the women who do the house paintings. Yes. So we're like, why not be inspired by the origins of the fabric and the origins of our brand? And so we literally took a hat, and was inspired by the thatch, the geometry, and that's basically where it came from. And we created our koti gown.
That is definitely a phenomenal piece right there. What are some of the challenges that you're facing in the local industry?
Visibility, number one. Number two, gatekeeping. Unfortunately, but it's there. You find that it's hard for other designers to kind of break into the industry for lack of, no matter how talented, but mainly for lack of funds, for lack of visibility, for lack of networks, for lack of knowledge of how to kind of go about getting capital for your business. Also lack of business acumen. It's not just the drawing and the sketching. You actually have to run a business. You actually have to eat. You have to find ways to make it sustainable. So I think for me, those are the top ones.
As your parting shot, what are your words of wisdom and encouragement to the young boy or girl who's watching you right now and says, Georgia has definitely inspired me and I want to follow in her footsteps?
I would say educate yourself as much as possible. Be serious. If it's your passion, no one is going to tell you don't follow it, but show that you are serious about it. I showed my family that I'm going to be a designer and artist, and I educated myself. I have a business. I registered myself. Mm-hmm. I think all of these things are important steps to show people how passionate and how serious you are about it. So if this is what you want to do, invest in yourself. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, Georgia, and all the best.
Thank you so much.
You heard that for yourself. Let your passion speak for itself. Be serious, and everybody else will take you seriously. Stay tuned for the second segment.
iAfrica searches for inspiration and innovation in all areas of popular culture, from fashion and design through to architecture, art, food, and travel. The focus is on outstanding individuals doing extraordinary things on the African continent. The show presents creatives in their home nations, visiting renowned designers, musicians, architects who are leaving their mark on the young continent. Join me, your host, Rugarim Duhani, as we take a round trip across Africa and get to be inspired, motivated, and future-oriented. iAfrica, celebrating the African story.
Welcome to the show, Sagom. It's an honor to have you here. Please let me know what inspired your name.
Star rangu inini chakandinspire pa star rangu ndo zvandiri kungova different.
When you introduce yourself, you call yourself Sagom. I am Guru Afro. So let the viewers know what actually inspired that name.
Star rangu chekutanga parinonzi Segaum bye. Chakandi inspire pana Segaum ndakainspire nini. Cause ndiri extraordinary, yeah. Ndo zvakandi inspire kuti nditore ndiri munhu of course ndiri munhu aifarira Steven Seagal, but zvichizonobva ipapo ndazonobatanidza ina hangu ndinobva neMash West Side takanobva neZambia. Saka munhu anonzwisisa that cultural ikoko mazita anorelate ikoko. My brother real uri pachitupa anotonzi Elam. Inini zita rangu ndonzi Philip Elam Ganizan. Yeah. So ngova different yo. Ndo Seagal.
That is being a true artist. Now, when you were speaking about the genre, you have actually created your own genre. Yeah.
Resi rachandiri goni. Resi rima genre kuti nditi guys ndakuimba zimdanzo. Vakomana vakatogara vakatobata kachinhu chavo. Vakatochihoroda. Saka ndakagadzira own race rangu rekuti handimhanyise. Ende kana vanhu vakauya vakati ngatiimba timhanyisane because tichitori vashoma. Vanhu vachatanga kujoina this music havambomuka va 1 million. Saka chero vakajoina tikapinda muchigure tinomhanya nacho nepesi yatinenge tichida. So zvinenge zvakakosha.
Saka kune munhu who's never met you and who's never heard your music, inonzi chii? For those that have never met you, that want to know the type of music that you sing, what's the name of this genre and what exactly is the message behind your music?
Zita regenre it's Guru Afro handiti. Ndo genre ndinoimba. And music yandinoimba zvainobatsira. Inobatsira kuvaka mayouth vari kukura nevakakura kare. Ndosaka ichinzi Guru Afro, it's music inorelata nevanhu vakuru, of which isusu Afrobeat ndo chinhu chiri kurelata naama 2K. Saka upenyu hwedu hwese hwemusic everything zvese zvandinoita ndiri kumeka short zvinhu zvandiri kubata ndiri kufanira kubata all generations. Kubva kune vadiki vari patiriwo nevari kumusoro, munhu wese akwanise kurelata nekunzwisisa kuti chii chandinenge ndichida kuzama kuti ndi-explain pandinenge ndichigadzira music, kana kuti ndi-message yanenge ndichida kupa ndichigadzira music. Yeah.
Mataura about relating to the youths. Mazwano tukuona, there's a lot of drug and substance abuse that's coming in through my youths, and it's also touching music industry as well. Tinema artists atinenchiziva, you know, uyu mnozongonzwa kuti asungwa kana kuti ati. Can you speak to the youths out there, because you said you're relating to them? Can you speak to them, because creativity doesn't necessarily have to be fueled by drugs?
Zvazvinoita panhau yeissue ine painonetsera, especially pabatwa kunzi maartist. message yezvinhu zviya tisu tinomuka tichiti hatidi handiti in the same time tirisu tiri kuva inspire kuti vapinde mazviri. Kune vakuru vamwe varimo kana kuti tiri kuti munhu anofanira kunge achindirayira pandakawana example iyoyo ndokuri kundilida kune zvese zvandichaita. So kuma youth nenyaya dzemadrugs inini handingamboti ndingati tingakurudzirane. Chinhu chekuti munhu haasi kutsvaga identity yake nezvinhu zvaanofanira kuita. So uenda apo yacho munhu akuda kutrya kutora imwe supplement kuti akwanise kuita zvaari kuda kuita mulife make. Saka matorero andirongozviita ndezvekuti zviri kufanira kutobatwa kubva kune vamwe vanotoimba vanozviita ende vavo vachisiwa vakadaro. Saka mayouth vakufunga kuti ndinzi ndiri artist ndakufanira kutanga ndatora something mulife mangu. Saka inini paissue yoyoyo intonzwisa tsitsi. Kana mukatonzwa pa1st of season patone song inotovhunza kuti why wadakwanei why inyaya yekuti zvinhu zvinotoshungurudza chisi chinhu chinofadza kana kugamuchira kuti munhu ari kuita zvekuteka madrugs in the likes kuti ararame especially my youth.
I love that as a creative, not only is your artistry in your music, but it's also in your fashion. Let's talk about your fashion because you also have your label there.
Fashion yangu kazhinji ndo pandataura pepe zvinhu zvese zvinohodwa kudzoka kuna Segao. Segao kuti ave different inyaya dzinobva kubva paidentity yangu kubva kulook yangu, ndinotaura sei nevanhu, ndinoda sei vanhu, ndinofara sei nevanhu, like respect yandinayo. Kana pane wandakatadzira sorry havazoshaika one or two, but in real life ndiri munhu wekuti ndinongofarira kudika kuti whatever zvese zvatichaita ndofanira kunge ndiri munhu wevanhu. Yeah.
So what has inspired you to now start creating fashion for vamwe? Not just for yourself, because I know you've been designing as well. So what was the inspiration behind that?
Kudesignera vamwe ndinotoita. Ndotodesignera maartists. Pane maoutfits angu akawanda muindustry andakaita. Saka chakandiinspire kuti ndiite maoutfits inyaya yekungoda kuva ndakatanga nchingoinspire nezvinhu zvokungoona zvinhu zviri like ndiri munhu anofarira kuona mamovie ari zvima epic movie in the likes zvinhu zvandakangokura ndingofarira ndaifarira maepic. Saka whatever zvinhu zvangu kana munhu ukapinda muafrican look yangu ine epic huri mairi. It's not like a real African yekuti ndogona kutanga kugadzira jean nenhembe something like that. Ndinotoshandisa hangu maskin but ndotry kuti zvive epic. Saka inspiration yangu yaingobva pakuti ndiri munhu aiona zvima movie zvanga zvaipfekwa mamwe outfit asinganzwisisiki.
Before I let you go, I just want to know, can you talk to the viewers and just let them know, why is it so important for us to embrace our culture in our creativity, whether it's in your daily living or, it's the way you dress or how you sing, in your lyrics and all of that. Why is that important for us to embrace our African culture?
Zvakakosha ende zvinofadza kana uri munhu ari proudly African. Ende uri munhu anonzwisisa zvauri kuti who are you. Yes, tinozosvika nguva yatinoti how are you chichi, but hazvisirizo isusu tinofanira kunzwisisa kunobva identity yedu kumaroots ndo zvinoita kuti zvitichengete. Ende whatever maitira tinoita zvino, regai ndikuudzei, haungaende iwewe kumurungu uchimutengesera chirungu, unoenda uchitengesa your culture ndokuti akugamuchire zvakasimba. Whatever pamusic ndinoimba ndichiziva kuti anda unotengesawo zvangu zviri different kuti pane zvinhu zvinenge zvakawanda zvakanaka izvi chizosarudzwawo sechinhu chakasiyana nezvimwe. Saka chandinoshuvira kuti munhu wese nganzwisise kwaanobva, identity yakakosha, ini ndinofara nekudaro.
Thank you so much for your time. and I hope we'll be seeing you more. We'll be seeing more of you on the show.
Aiwa, nice maita basa. And ndinotenda rese ruzhinji rweZimbabwe ma-artists ari kutraya kusimuka whatever mafans kana mumwe munhu ane art anything chese chaari kuita mulife make chandanga ndichingoda kungoti nditsanangura ndechekuti consistency inobhadhara and zvinhu zvako zvese kana uchiita isa Mwari zvinokuitira zvakanaka.
iAfrica searches for inspiration and innovation in all areas of popular culture, from fashion and design through to architecture, art, food, and travel. The focus is on outstanding individuals doing extraordinary things on the African continent. The show presents creatives in their home nations, visiting renowned designers, musicians, architects who are leaving their mark on the young continent. Join me, your host, Rugarim Duhani, as we take a round trip across Africa and get to be inspired, motivated, and future-oriented. iAfrica, celebrating the African story.
Welcome to this week's third and final segment of iAfrica, where I am joined by a writer, an artist, an all-round creative at that. His name is Bill Masuku. Hello, Bill.
Hi, Rugare. How are you doing?
I'm great, thanks. Now, take us through this. What is an illustrator? This is for the layman who's at home.
I would say an illustrator is someone who goes through the process of going from an absolutely blank canvas to creating visual ideas, be that in color, in sketch. Your painters, your digital artists like myself, bringing toward a world of fiction from their mind and producing it for the layman. Preface it, I want to say traditional art is your paints, your pencils, your canvases, everything that you learn in a classroom. And yes, we are in an absolutely digital age. Most of us have a smart device of some sort. And through that, we can have software that replicates, I think that's the best word, it replicates the process of art. So it's still all the same traditional techniques of I have to know color, I have to know line, I have to know form, but it's simply I can now press Control Z if I make a mistake.
Okay, what was the inspiration for you? Because you're quite young, yes. It's the look on your face.
I'm functionally young, yeah. The inspiration, and I think I've thought about this answer quite a while over the course of my entire life. And I think it's preordained. I think as a child, I was drawing much more than I was speaking. Not to say that it didn't take skill to get where I am. Much effort, much training, lots of YouTube videos of me learning from other artists, but there is an internal passion that makes me draw, not as a hobby, not as a purpose, but I wake up and I feel like this is as much stretching for my mind as it is walking around the house.
There's a child out there who's watching you right now and they're like, listen, I love to sketch. Can you speak to that child? Inspire them a little.
Stay in school. Yeah. The arts industries in Zimbabwe are growing, right? And there is a place for everybody who does have large support systems. I'm lucky enough to have a family that supported me when I did decide to do this full-time professionally, but that's not always the case. You may face hardship, you may face difficulty, but one thing that I always leaned back on is the fact that I'm actually fairly good at maths. I'm a well-rounded student, and that contributed to my art more so than anything else.
You spoke of some of the hardships that you faced. What are some of the hardships that you faced as an artist in Zimbabwe?
I would say, particularly as a digital artist, the concept of mapopai is still plaguing us to this day. I think traditional artists have it less so, because there's an esteem, there's a value to having portraiture and landscape paintings in your house. But that same prestige is not offered to people who make sequential art, animation, comic books, even children's books. But you see in the West, in Japan, these are multi-billion-dollar industries. Everybody has watched a Marvel movie at some point. And I would say if we just extend that same level of understanding that this grassroots can grow into something large that can give us shade, that can give us fruits of culture, of pop culture in the future. Those are the hardships that people don't see, that the seeds that we have to plant today are valuable.
And given that you are an illustrator, I know that you've got your own children's cartoon that you've done. Let's talk about that.
So I grew up in the 90s, and everywhere you turned, there was a cartoon that spoke to community, that spoke to family, that spoke to protecting the planet. And it's not that we've lost that, but I feel we have to give back what we've been given. And in my story, Kalahari Kids, it's about a diverse group of Southern African kids who want to do maths, science, history, because those are the subjects that I loved. I love learning about African history. I love culture, technology, and I think there's a way to make it fun for children. I think we're losing this ability to sit close with our friends, our nieces, our nephews, and say, hey, I have a story to tell, and they walk away in passion to want to know more. And so Kalahari Kids, while it's a children's book right now, I am working on an animation because I think music contributes to storytelling and learning as well.
It is important that we tell the African story ourselves and we take ownership of that. Let's talk about the pros and cons of actually embracing illustration and creating these stories for ourselves versus just watching Marvel, yeah?
I would say the cons is the amount of time it takes to actually make well-polished illustrations, animations. My time at Netflix and my time at Disney, it takes about 5 years for a solid animation to come out, from the idea, the writing, to the storyboarding, to the animating, to the actually putting it out on a studio platform. What I would say is the pros is the value that you get out of it. I think we spend a lot of time looking outward. Particularly in Southern Africa, yes, I'm mentioning Marvel, yes, I'm mentioning Japan, but between all of the stories that we used to hear, Mangano, right, if we just animated those, if we just turned those in from culture to pop culture, and not just seeing it as an art form, but also a level of productivity that we can export, to have people read our books, to have people want to go on Duolingo, to learn Shona, to be able to consume our content. That is the goal. The goal is that people understand that culture is also part of tourism. Comics are part of tourism. Illustration is part of tourism.
As we wrap your interview up, there's a parent that's watching right now and says, saka mapopaya ano kwanza kubadala mwana wangu ere. Do share some of your success stories as an illustrator, as a creative, as a writer.
I've traveled.
Oh, trust me, you're hard to pin down. You're always somewhere.
I'm definitely on the move quite a lot. Quite recently, I was able to attend a focus in Angoulême in Paris, and I frequent South Africa quite a bit because of the Comic-Cons that happen there. And Comic-Con has an attendance of about 70,000+ people that are ready and willing for African content. There's conventions around Zimbabwe as well. There's one happening in Bulawayo, I think, in this coming weekend. We have our own events between gaming, animation, and illustration from August all the way to December. There is an industry that's here and ready for your child, your cousin, your uncle, your enemies to come and profit off their ideas and their passion.
That was Bill Masuku, creative writer, artist. Listen, the arts are in good hands. Your children are in good hands as he's telling the African story through illustration and books as well. Encourage your child to write, to draw, to sketch, because you never know. Tomorrow, they might own the next DC Comics. In the words of Georgia, follow your passion and your passion will speak for you. In the words of Sagum, as long as you walk your path in the truth of your creativity, the masses will follow. And in the final words of Bill Masuku, hey, take your pencil, sketch, the doors will open for you. I hope you've been inspired. Stay creative. This is iAfrica. I'll see you next week.
iAfrica searches for inspiration and innovation in all areas of popular culture, from fashion and design through to architecture, art, food, and travel. The focus is on outstanding individuals doing extraordinary things on the African continent. The show presents creatives in their home nations, visiting renowned designers, musicians, architects who are leaving their mark on the young continent. Join me, your host, Rugarim Duhani, as we take a round trip across Africa and get to be inspired, motivated, and future-oriented. iAfrica, celebrating the African story.